All right, traders. So it is Monday, the 22nd of February. Welcome to the weekly outlook. Let's talk about all things stocks, forex, cryptos. Chris in the house. Edward is here. Stefan is here. Gary, good morning. Gert, good morning. Nice to see everybody. All right, fantastic. Good, good, good. Yes, yes, yes. All right, thanks, Marty. Thanks, Greg. All right, nice to see the usual suspects and everyone else. Okay, here we go. We're going to get into the charts here. We're going to take a look at some stocks, some forex, some cryptocurrencies. Big news over the weekend. What to look forward to for trading this week. Some setups that I'm really liking, and setups that I'll be planning on taking with my trading room this week. So we'll talk about that. We understand there's risk in trading. Please and always use trade capital only. Do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. Everything I'm talking about is for educational purposes only. You know the deal. Charles, good morning. Mike, good morning. Just to let everybody know, if you are following me out there on YouTube, and I'm streaming like this on Mondays and Fridays, every Monday, every Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Mondays are weekly outlooks. Fridays are weekly recaps. These sessions, the Monday sessions, I'm going to try to keep a little bit shorter, around 30 to 35 minutes. Fridays we can go a little bit longer as we kind of reflect on the week, see how the week that was, and anything that's setting up going into this coming week. So anyway, that's Mondays and Fridays live on my YouTube channel. I'm also streaming this on Facebook and Twitter and Twitch and LinkedIn. So you can find me out there on social media. Look for a new series coming. This is my Keep It Seriously Simple best practices, best trading strategies. I have a lesson 13 coming this week that is going to be about trade management. Finished up a PowerPoint on it since last Friday, so I'll be having that roll out this week. So look for that on my Keep It Seriously Simple video series. And also starting a new series, Trading Indicators. I'll just be going through like maybe 5-minute videos, 5 to 10 max, just going through a bunch of widely accepted industry standard indicators from A to Z. So we're going to have some fun with that. And, again, my thoughts on indicators, visually, they can be great, but they are it's a crutch. It's not something I want to rely on 100% of the time. I think if I can teach traders how to trade support resistance, trade trend lines, trade price action, then you can apply indicators to get those visual cues and confirmations that you're looking for. But again, just pure price action and market structure, I think is the best way to trade. That's how thousands and thousands of strategies are built. And so we'll have some fun with just finding some great indicators out there and see if they stick. Like I said, some indicators I've used, some indicators I've built systems and strategies with. Others I'll just explore and kind of teach myself. Okay. All right. If you're following me out there on social media, here's where you can find me. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/Chris Pulver. On Facebook, everything is Chris Pulver Trading. So look for my name, look for Chris Pulver Trading. That's where I'm trying to sync everything up. Best way to contact me is, I appreciate the thumbs up and likes in these YouTube videos, and leave comments. Leave comments in the YouTube videos. Click the descriptions. I know that usually when I do my Monday recordings, that I was posting, some blurps on the description and having some links and stuff if I was referencing a news article or referencing something I'm talking about in particular. So I guess that structure changes a little bit when we're going live on Mondays and Fridays. It's just taking the live stream and uploading it. So if you'd like more information on that, make sure you leave me a comment on the YouTube channel. And also you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and you can send me direct messages, direct tweets, stuff like that. So at pulver.chris is Instagram and at pulverchris is Twitter. Okay. David says you really need to start using different photo. Why? Was it something wrong with it? Is it not accurate? I guess I don't look like that anymore. That wasn't that long ago. That was like 2-3 years ago. Come on, man. All right, let's get to it. Let's go into the charts. I want to take a look at the dashboard this morning. Okay, so we have futures way down for the morning, actually. So last week, we go into the currency calendar. Let's go to last week's economic calendar. You'll see on Thursday that U.S. jobless claims were, again, quite high. Thursday last week, see, manufacturing index. This is last week. Is it low impact? You mean to tell me that job employments are low impact? Let's see. Jobless claims. ADP Thursday last week. What the heck? Yeah, of course. Put it low impact. Low impact, 861,000 jobs. Nobody's paying attention to that. Well, it's a big deal. Markets last week did sell off on Friday. They are looking to point probably to the open a little bit lower today as futures is down. So anyway, I love how they just change the significance of some of these news events during the week to see like, oh yeah, rate decision, that's all medium impact now because everybody knows how it's calculated or it's not going to change. Where back in the day in Forex, it used to be a big deal to have a rate decision like we have this week. So anyway, I know that jobless claims are really high once again, 861K. This is the week of February 22nd through the 26th. And by the way, this is going to be the final trading week of February. It is a short month. It's going to be a full trading week, but we will end on Friday. And because that takes us into the 26th, the weekend will be the end of the month. So we will see how this week positions itself for some pushes. We did see some risk on trading last week. We had a pretty big volatile week as far as, Aussie strength, Aussie resiliency. The JPY was extremely weak last week in currency pairs, and we can take a look at the currency strength chart and see what happened overnight. So volatility-wise, things were pretty contained, but one thing that stuck out to me overnight was this right here. This brown line is the Swiss franc, and this red line is the euro. So this is a currency pair that I told everybody in my trading room, if this hits my profit target above 110.45, I'm going to shave my head because I've been waiting for this to happen for so long. And I'm not doing that to be ridiculous, but I mean, I don't care. It's like I am so ready for that Euro Swiss to give us some big payments. And I've been scalping it for the last probably 6 months. We've seen range-bound trading in a tight range for about 100 pips for the last 6 months. And I'm looking at the bigger time frames to finally start giving us a move into the 110, 110.50 area. So to see it last night have a pretty extreme move where the Euro and the Swiss did finally separate, that was a little bit more encouraging. Opening up first thing this morning, you can see that the Japanese yen is getting a little bit stronger. The dollar is stabilizing. We did see a little bit of dollar strength overnight around 3:30 to 4 a.m. Eastern time, and that has since come back. So looking at some decent swings in my positions. I'll talk about some of those this morning. Okay, so I'm going to log into one of my web platforms here, and I'll show you some of the positions that I am in. So let me get signed in, and let's see here. Let's see. Philip says, I don't know if you know, Bitcoin has dived into the 50,000. Yes, I saw that it was up to like 58K over the weekend, and it is nosedived, I think, close to 10%. Dave says, looks nothing like you. Hey, I don't know, David. I don't know what you think I look like, but that's me, bro. Hey, Shane. maybe my face is skinnier. I don't know, man. I'm older. Maybe I'm more gray. I have no idea. So, all right, let me get signed into a web portal here. I'm going to show some trades, some of the trades that I'm holding in my Forex accounts. And we've had some that are going fairly well. Some that I'm waiting for some turns on, so we'll talk about that. So let me take a look at some trades. There we go. Okay. So I have some profits running. So Euro Swiss is in profit. Nice to see that get that nice separation. So I've got some money riding in on Euro Swiss and dollar Swiss positions that have built off the lows around 88.50, 8800, 8900. I've taken a variety of trades on Euro Swiss, variety of trades on dollar Swiss, and I'm starting to see those starting to pay out. Dollar CAD, I'm looking at something I'm still holding from around 27.55. I added to it at recent lows around 2600. So I have a couple of positions in profit there. Swiss yen is up into profit from a 117.55 trade. Euro Swiss, dollar Swiss, Aussie yen. I did sell at the high and near the end of the day on Friday. So we'll talk about Aussie yen. And then I have some positions that are also negative. So as far as my overall positions, I'm nursing some drawdowns. We talked about those last week. I do have a ton of trades that are starting to show some profits. So I want to talk about all that today when we get through those currency pairs. Okay. So honestly, one of my favorite trade setups for this week, there's two of them that I really, really like in Forex. And then I want to go into the SPY, the Dow Jones, and the Qs, or the NASDAQ. Notice that we are looking for this big gap lower. So the SPY is down almost 2/3 of 1%. The Dow Jones is down around half of 1%. And the NASDAQ is down over 1%. Volatility is creeping off of those lows. The VIX is at 23.7. We had lows sub 20. And we're looking to see if the VIX will spike back up towards $37 or even $40 where we have a yearly pivot. All right. Nice, Ed. Yeah, he's always right here. So maybe that's what I need is I'll just get a new picture. It's going to be, me and Benji together in the picture. That's funny. All right, so two currency pairs I'm going to pay attention to this week. Traders with me in my trading room will be revisiting these quite a bit. This is my Euro Aussie. It's just a really clean technical setup. Now, my thoughts on this pair are this. We have had a trend running since October of last year. October, November, December, January, February. That gets us into 5 months of lower highs and lower lows. Now, I understand that this could drift a little bit lower, and we've already mapped this out between 1.56 and 1.50. Now, I do have a robot that is starting to trade for me, and it is in, let me see if I can find that Euro Aussie right in here. It is in 3 very small trades. All right, now it's in this to help me participate. What I've told traders I'm doing with this robot is the following. I am going to be using the robot to start getting into trades for me in this area. These are all spaced out trades that are very small. What I'm watching is I'm watching for this area to give us the evidence of price to start forming a bottom. Okay, now it is at 1.5381 right now. It may still drop down into 1.50. Okay, so I am still prepared for this to come find a round number like 1.50. All right, so I will remain patient. But if we start to see some movement back up into the trend line, if we start to see some price action breaking this trend line, then I will be much more aggressive on adding to my trades and trying to get this back up into profit once we hit 1.60. I would look for at least 1.60. So if I am long on the Aussie, the Euro Aussie right now, I'm looking for 1.60 as a temporary profit level. Okay. If we come down a little bit lower, I will probably draw more aggressive trendline traders this week in my room will see me do this. Okay. And we will start looking at maybe getting a trading around 1.50 as a round number support. And we'll just kind of maintain our break even and see where we're at as we built through this in a couple of small trades. And then from 1.50, I'm still going to target 1.60. So if we can build this position between 1.5, let's say 1.55 to 1.50, and we're going to look at a take profit level around 1.60, I feel like we're going to end up looking at something like 15 to 2,000 pips. Now it's going to take a few positions. It's going to be built up that way. All right, but it's going to be small tester trades here in this little support area, and then we're looking to add to our winners once we get on the right-hand side of the trend line. So I think that Euro Aussie is a very clean looking trade, and I'm looking for some lows to form. All right, the Euro New Zealand is similar to that. Okay, Euro New Zealand is at 6573 currently. We look left on this chart. I'm looking at support levels around 1.63, 1.60, 1.65. So this one has not quite fallen low enough, but again, same thing. I'm looking for some areas to buy. I do have a robot set up to start buying. That's my Price Action Pro. I will start testing this area with some confirmation on a smaller time frame. So the way that I have the robot set up is it's using my daily structure, and it's going to look for confirmation on the 1 hour chart to get into a buy zone. So as long as our 1 hour chart starts to show some bullishness and starts to confirm some bullishness, then my little robot will start taking some small trades. I will work this area on some pullbacks, and then we will start looking for some profit back into past support and resistance, which looks around 1.72. Probably the same thing. If we fall into the low 1.6 level, let's say we fall like 1.60, I would be looking at 1.70 as a profit level. So both on the Euro Aussie and the Euro New Zealand, I think we have something around 800 to 1,000 pips worth of movement coming. And I'm looking for that Euro Aussie to go bullish and break the trend line. I'm looking for the Euro New Zealand to turn and go bullish and break the trend line. Okay, so those are two setups I'm really paying attention to this week. Okay, the Swiss yen is another one. Swiss yen is another one. I do have a position in at 117.55. So we are just up a few pips on the Swiss yen right now. But I'm looking for this to fall into a couple of fantastic levels. Looking to fall into this yearly pivot, which is around 114.35. We also have a ton of support right here, support right here, support right here. So all I'm really looking for is this. If we can come back down into this 116 level and break these lows, I think this could be a reversal pattern that sets us up to a swing into 114. We have lows here, lows here, lows here. And I don't know how long I'm going to hang on to this in all honesty. I mean, I probably will be really happy with something back down towards 114. Trying to build some positions here, add maybe 2 or 3 extra trades to make my Swiss yen bigger. But I really like the setup. I know that the yen can be a little bit, not cooperative. We've seen the yen last week, like the Aussie yen took off. We had like 11 straight hours of bullishness. Check this chart out. This Aussie yen is pretty remarkable. Look at this on a daily chart. Okay, now this was starting to happen last week on Monday. The Aussie yen started to break right here. We had some bull flags and it started to run. Look at this on a 4-hour chart, a 1-hour chart from last week. Okay. What you're going to notice here is you just have these stretches where it's like, 7 to, or I guess I'll use 4-hour denominations here. So like 8 hours or 12 hours of bullishness. And we just see this very, very big aggressive bullish move on the Aussie yen. But what we are doing is we are, again, testing, conditions in which I'm used to seeing highs and lows forming. Now, I may have been a little bit early to the game as far as wanting to short the Aussie yen, okay? But what I love about this on a higher time frame is we are overbought right here, okay? And we are overbought again right here. So we are back into an overbought condition. Price has gone ahead and made some new highs. You can see that momentum has not agreed with that. So we do have some strong divergence. Right now, that again is an anticipatory technical setup. I am not exactly right on this high. I have been selling this thing in this area. I sold it last week near the high. And so I am just sitting, right? I'm sitting in some Aussie yen. Right here, in fact, is some of my Aussie yen. I've built in my little position here. Let me take this. See if I can. There we go. So Aussie yen, I took a couple of small trades. Let me change the color here to yellow. So I have small trade, small trade, small trade. These are all testers. I sold it at the highs last week. This was near market close on Friday. So I am still looking to stay short. My break even is around 81.44 and price right now is 8,300. So I'm upside down about 160 pips on my overall position. My total trade size is like $2 a pip. So it's not a big trade size relative to my account. This is a 50K account right here. I'm not overall concerned. I'm not loving this trade because obviously it's gone up a little bit more than I wanted it to. We had a pretty stubborn move to the upside, all right? But I still keep looking left on my chart. Let's go to a higher time frame here. I keep looking left on my chart, and I notice that this significant high from December of 2018 and the recent stretch from this breakout in February, this is early February. If we stretch, okay, we have this swing, this pullback, this swing, we should have at least a pullback coming soon. And there is a possibility that we are actually completing a fifth wave, right? So, and again, it depends on how I look at the actual wave measurements. Let me change my color back here. So if we have wave 1, 2, 3, if this is wave 3, then we might have a corrective wave 4 coming, which should come back and retest this resistance. So this is around 80, 80.00, just a little bit below that. And then maybe we have one more wave up. We might still have a fifth wave coming on this Aussie yen. If not, and I can use a tool on Smart Trader for this to see exactly where the wave count is, but it depends on the time frame that I'm using for the swing. So this is 1, 2, 3. And this was 4, and this is 5. If we're completing a fifth wave, then we will look at this area to this area as a pullback zone, right? Now, one thing I'm always looking for when it comes to seasonality in the markets is I'm looking for tops and bottoms and trends. So we've had a trend. Okay, so now I'm looking for those transitional tops and bottoms. This does strike me as a type of move where there is a fancy word for it. It is called capitulation. And that is where the market is very aggressive and one-sided. Now, take a look at this. If I have anybody in the room that's watching today that is a target trader, if I have anybody that's ever heard of a pivot point, take a look at this right here. Okay, we have a weekly pivot, weekly pivot, weekly pivot. Okay, and this is at the end of what I think is a fifth wave move. So in my opinion, I feel like this is a really good technical candidate for price to start falling back down. Okay, and where do I want it to fall back down towards? I would be happy, like I said, right here at 80. Price is currently at 83.10. Could it fall back into 80? If so, then I'm going to look at taking some profit. If we break this overall trend line, falling back down to 80, setting up a move this way, we're talking about more trading to the downside with a head and shoulders pattern or a crown pattern. So I would be looking at something bearish. Okay, I would be looking at something also on the right-hand side of the trend line. You notice here that price drifted on the right side of the trend line and then had this move to the upside. This doesn't make me want to change the trend line. Okay, there is support, there's support, there's support, there's support. It's using the back side of the trend line right now. If we can start to work our way back on the right-hand side of this trend line, I think this is coming back into these lows around 80 or 79.50. And from there, I'm looking for this to make a three-wave move or correctional move to the downside. Okay, all right, 1 second here. Any questions on that Aussie yen? I think this is a good looking trade. This did not, even last week's move, it didn't stop me from staying short. It didn't stop me from where I'm at, looking at the chart, looking left, looking at the technicals, looking at overbought conditions, looking at divergence, all these signs that I've been looking at getting in. And I'm in early. I know I'm in early, but I'm in small. Okay. Aussie dollar is similar. Aussie dollar is similar. This one we talked about on Friday during the weekly recap. Right back here, right? We broke the trend line, came back and retested. This strikes me as a type of area. Weekly pivot. This one was hit. Weekly pivot is available. If we use the backside of the trend line, you're going to notice here, take a look. Okay, from this high in price to this high in price, we have disagreement. From this high in price, we had overbought conditions. We are virtually there again. Now, we're not there exactly, but if we get to overbought again, I would use this area between, I mean, we're at 79. Okay, we're at 7,900. Could we come back up and use 8,000 and then fall? Of course. Right? So let's see I mean, this is going to be an interesting week to watch the Aussie yen, to watch the Aussie dollar. Like I said, this is a short month of trading. So we're going to finish up the month of February by Friday because the 26th is Friday. The weekend is going to wrap up the month. So we might see this market pushing towards some highs and lows, and we transition into March with some tops and bottoms forming based on some really strong technical characteristics like I'm showing you here, momentum and relative strength. All right. So could this Aussie dollar stay resilient this week and get up into 8,000 or so? Sure. And we've already talked about it. We're already prepared for it. I'm still looking for this to fall back down. Okay. So if and when it does fall from 8,000, does it fall back into this level at 76, make a topping pattern and come back into 74? That is very possible. Right. What we also would like to see is just a little bit more time. Maybe it's an indecision week. Okay, maybe it's an indecision week where it goes just on the right side of the trend line and we start to look at some simple breakouts to the downside. Maybe it stays vertical through some of the week and then starts to top out and then comes back next week. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm saying this out loud. Like I am thinking ahead about a week for this trade, right? I want to see what the next couple of days look like. I want to see what Friday looks like. So when you join me again on Friday this week, let's see where we're at with the Aussie yen. Let's see where we're at with the Aussie dollar, right? Let's see where some of these big technical setups are sitting. Does it look like we're right on the confirmation? Are we starting to get priced to support what what we're telling ourselves, what we're analyzing, what we're seeing in the markets? Or is it not cooperating? That's the flip side is maybe it's not going to cooperate. And so we have to be prepared for that as well, right? And that's another reason that this week when my Keep It Seriously Simple video hits, it's going to be lesson 13. That will be managing trades. And it's managing good trades as well as bad trades, right? One thing that's super important in trading in general, doesn't matter what market you're in, is risk management. Okay, but in Forex, it's very easy to take both sides of the trade. You can buy and sell, and it's not like you have to do anything differently. You are trading strictly on a margin account in Forex. You're using leverage, and so you can sell an instrument, buy an instrument, and it's not the same as does all the sentiment have to be bearish in order for the stock to drop, or for stocks to actually drop and go bearish, we have to see like all these bad things have to happen. There's like this storm of bad news out there that all of a sudden stocks are like a little iffy and shaky. But in Forex, you just have natural ebbs and flows, support resistance levels, and a lot of efficiencies and structures. Okay. All right. So that is Aussie dollar. My favorite setups, like I said, this week, Euro Aussie, watch that clean trend line area, and the Swiss yen. I'm really looking to see if the Swiss yen will keep dropping. And on that note, like I said, this trade, the Euro Swiss, okay, we're at 108.77. Now, I am watching this thing and I'm getting a little mad seeing the wick today. But if there is something about this stupid high, like we came up to 109 and change last night. I had a chart alarm trigger at 109. I was actually pretty excited because I thought, you know what, it's about flipping time. It's about time that we broke above these highs. Today's close is going to be really important, right? Look at where we are on the close of today's candle thus far. Now, it still has to go all day. This is a daily chart, so it still has to go all day. Now, if we can close above this area, I feel like that's a good sign. Okay, now I'm going to give this candle about another 24 hours because if we close above this area, hopefully we can stay here around the 108.50 level and still see the Euro Swiss push into this 110.50. Right now, if we see that this area right here, this 108.50, ends up closing with a long wick and the body is red or the body is below that 108.50, then we are most likely coming back down into this ridiculous constant support level. And guess what I'll do? I will still wait to get paid up here, and I will just buy more at 107. And I'll buy more at 107.50. And what I've been doing is scalping. Okay, this Euro Swiss, I've been scalping from 107.50 to 108. Okay, or higher. 107.50 to 108 or higher. So I will still scalp this thing to the upside. But if there is a way that we can hold this close and maintain this level and see this as a breakout, we should have some room up to 110.50. And that will be good. I said I will shave my head. Now, I'm not going bald on this, all right, but I'm going to shave my head if we hit 110.50, just because I've been watching. I mean, we've been in this trade since this area. This is January of 2020. My gosh, it's been over a year, traders. Are you kidding me? Now, granted, I've had some profit here. We got into it over here, made a lot of profit right there on that bump up. We got ourselves back into the trade, but this is where I've been sitting, right? We've been sitting in this trade since July of last year without having it finish our move. We want to get paid up here. We want to get paid into this area between 110.50 and 112. But this trade has been ongoing for a year, and it's been even more, boring, I suppose, for the last like 6 or 7 months. Crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. But anyway, if we can make this break above 108, 70, 10900, hopefully we can see a close above that and keep pushing. I say that the Bulls have permission. They certainly have my permission to go north. Okay. Yep. And Davis says that is something I will not do. I'm not asking anybody to do it. I'm not worried because my hair will grow back. All right. But we'll have some fun with it. Okay. I'll have Benji shave it actually. He can do that for me. Ugh, that would be awful. Anyway, all right, so that's Euro Swiss. Let's take a look at the SPY. Let's take a look at the markets this morning. Let's see that it was, like I said, futures is pointed to the downside. Look at our gap lower. Now, we are interested in following some day-to-day price action. Okay, now this is a pretty substantial gap, yes? So do you remember talking about this for the last couple of weeks? Once we started doing these live streams on Fridays and Mondays, taking a look at just the SPY in the open, taking a look at the DIA, taking a look at the Qs in the open. There's some really good price action in here. Okay, now in this chart, I have a 5-minute price action chart on the left, and this is just candlesticks, and I also have a 5-minute Heikin-Ashi chart on the right. Okay, so what I would be looking for is this gap to fill. Now, what I'm noticing currently, and this is I'm just doing a simple price action lesson here. Okay, we gapped from last Friday's close right here to today's open. So we did gap lower. Now, the thought initially is that the market is going to fill this gap. Now, I think that right now we see the Heikin-Ashi candles, which will give us some smoother green indicators. If we have bullishness, the Heikin-Ashi stands for like a trend bar. So we essentially see better trends and better colors, and a little bit more consistency out of the Heikin-Ashi. So what I'd like to see is this. Let's say that this gap is still available. Okay, let's say the gap is still available. What I'd like to see is actually price to sell off a little bit lower. Okay, sell off a little bit lower and see if this can go red, 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 and then start to turn green and look to see if we can get a low for the day and possibly the pros close. That's the saying here, amateurs open and pros close, and see if the markets want to recover or fight back for the day. And so just looking at a simple day trading opportunity on the SPY, could this end up, and I'll make sure, oh, that's the NASDAQ, never mind. Let me get this to the SPY, sorry. There we go. There, now it's the same. So same thing. Could this drop back down into lows? Could this drop a little bit lower, then turn green, and see if we can close the gap on the SPY? Okay. Now, if there is no confirmation, I want to make sure that we see green candles. This is not good enough. Like right here, just off the gap levels, this turning green on a Heikin-Ashi is not enough for me to buy this, right? I want to see if we can come back into equal lows, maybe even lower lows, and see if we can get some confirmation a little bit lower. Let it turn green. Buy trade. You could take a small position if it goes against you, maybe a second order or two. Okay, maybe 1 to 2 orders tops, and see if you can get yourself back into profit today. Okay, but keep an eye out for the sentiment. Like I said, overall, the market is looking to be somewhat bearish today. Futures is way down for the morning. Okay, so we're looking at futures. Let me go back to that dashboard here. And I will, so we've been at it for about 30 minutes. I'm going to try to wrap things up in about 5 or 10 minutes max. Okay, so dashboard for today. Futures is trying to fight back. Okay, we're at 0.42%. We're at 0.5%. So we're all in the red. NASDAQ is way down at 1.12. Okay, U.S. markets opened, and you can see that they've gapped lower. Okay, gold is at 1805. We had gold last week around 1770. So, I mean, we were talking about major support around 1764. I'm sure there's some traders out there that started to get into gold at those, mid 1700 levels. Oil is still hanging tough at 60 plus, right? So oil is still resilient and strong, and we still have, oil could stay postured up towards like $64. Gold, I think 1760, 1770 was a good level 1 support. And we'll take a look at silver and cryptos as well. But right now, again, futures to the red, Let's see if it will stay that way through the morning. Usually if I'm trading something like an ETF in the morning, or if I'm day trading the U.S. Open like this, I don't like to place trades right away. Unless it's super obvious within like the first like 15 minutes. But usually I'm waiting about 45 minutes to an hour. That's usually when my trading room ends. My trading room for a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we trade from 8 to 10. Typically we wrap up right around 10 o'clock. Usually like 10:30 or so is when I'm looking to look at some of these trades and see if they're still available for the morning. So that being said, if the markets can still slide a little bit lower, this is what I'd like to see. Okay, could we slide a little bit lower for the day, right? And could we come back and fill this gap by afternoon, or fill this gap even by tomorrow? Okay, now there's still room for all this to drop. We've talked about the technicals on this many, many times. We have been making higher highs in price. We have been disagreeing steadily with momentum. We are not quite at overbought conditions yet. But notice how all these big extremes have set up with some pretty substantial topping patterns. So the SPY on the daily is not quite overbought, as far as the relative strength index goes. But this has also been stretching higher and higher and higher. There is a ton of disagreement. Okay, and even here, there's noticeable disagreement, and this means a lot of divergence. So I'm not saying that this has to be a top. Okay, what I'm saying is we should at least have some type of correction. We should have something that at least technically allows the markets to drop a little bit. Okay, Dow Jones, same thing. Disagreement on momentum, equal highs, slight disagreement and divergence on relative strength. We have been stretching higher, stretching higher, stretching higher. We gapped lower. So if we take a look at this, you can see that we have some decent support levels, right? We have some support, so it would be fine. If we fall into this level, if we fall into, this is DIA, for example. This is the ETF that follows the Dow Jones. If we fall into 310, 310 could definitely become a buy trade with a low risk, decent reward to fill today's gap. So rather than having to trade today, rather than forcing to trade today, if you don't have confirmation to buy, I'm looking for 310. Like, that's a logical spot for past resistance right in here, past resistance right in here, past levels right in here to offer some support. Now, if we start fighting back through the rest of the morning and it's starting to trim these losses, trim that gap, then it's a trade that's gone, right? Like, it's just not available. Okay. All right. Qs, NASDAQ is down. Again, big gap to the downside. Let's take a look at this one on the 5-minute chart. This one had a pretty solid gap, yeah? This is the Q. We have a daily pivot right here around 331.50. Let's take a look at that Heikin-Ashi as well. So this is the QQQ there. So I have my price chart with candles on the left. I have my Heikin-Ashi 5-minute chart on the right. Get rid of that subgraph. What I would like to see is this. If the gap is still available, can we come back in, retest the low? Can we come back in, maybe make a fresh low, look for that to be divergent on the day, get some green on the Heikin-Ashi, and try to fill that gap by this afternoon? So if the markets are interested in fighting back, now I said if, right? If it stays red, stayed red, there's nothing to trade, right? If it stays red on the day, if it slides lower here, takes out this low, stays red, don't trade it, right? But this gap is still available. That can certainly be something the market wants to come after later this afternoon or even by tomorrow if it's interested. All right. Now, I'm looking at all these different, ETFs to see what's the overall sentiment. If we're starting to see the SPY dropping, the DIA dropping, the Qs dropping, we should also see the VIX, which is the volatility index. We should see this also rallying. Okay, so can the VIX rally off these lows? Right now it's at 23.4. Okay, now we have noticed that $20 seems to be a very strong level of support for right now. The next level is all the way down here at 12. But if I start to see the VIX spiking back up here, that means that our SPY, DIA, and Qs will probably be dropping as this rallies, right? We have a lot of warning signs here on the volatility index to at least see some spikes to the upside. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some major option expiries coming also on the VIX. So that, and it could be a one-time thing. It could be a one-day play where it's like it's just right there, and all these call options are closing, right? All these naked call options on the VIX are just taking profit. So we might see it spike all the way back to mid-30s. We might see it hit this yearly pivot at 40 plus. If that's the case, expect these ETFs to drop and show some bearish sentiment. If these are sliding to the downside, every stock, for the most part, is also going to be bearish. So that's what happens is we can buy great companies and have it in a bad market cycle. We can have great companies in a bad market phase. So if this all of a sudden goes into, let's say this is going to work its way up, these are going to start to drop. I don't care what stock you have out there, you're going to see overall the sentiment is red, right? How many of you have looked at something like FinViz for a heat map? Have you seen this FinViz heat map before? Finviz.com. This little heat map right here. Look at this. Everything is in red. So if the VIX is up and the SPY and the DIA and the Qs are down, this whole thing, this entire grid is going to be red. So that's what happens. Like everything kind of works together. Like risk on, risk off sentiment will drag stops with it. You'll have stocks that certain ones will stand out, but for the most part, you're going to see like tech sector, which is very heavy from 2020. Tech sector is going to drag everything down. The market cap and the what's the word I'm looking for? The oh shoot, what's the word I'm looking for? It has something to do with the market cap and the the concentration. The concentration in just a handful of companies, right? I mean, there were charts being laid out last year, like without Amazon, without Apple, without these major tech stocks that are keeping the markets running and floating. Without those big tech stocks and without all that concentration, the market would not have performed the way it did last year. So if overall we start to see that the markets are sliding bearish, it's going to be tough to find, markets really bullish this week. And again, it's literally the open of Monday. So this could all change in 24 hours. I'm not really worried about it, but this is the type of stuff we watch day to day. Okay? Any questions on that? So we'll keep an eye on this. We'll watch this in the trading room as well. Okay, all good? Yeah? All right. So let's do this. I'm going to start to kind of wrap things up here. So if we look at some overall stocks, I'm going to take a look this week and look at my screener, try to find some stocks in here. I can use my all screener in FinViz, try to find something that I like. Last Friday we walked through this. I had a little setup where I had something to do with, I was looking for something of value. I want to see any stock under $10. I was interested in some insider ownership. Okay. Was it insider ownership? Yes. I was looking for over 10%. I think it was insider ownership, and it was also institutional ownership. I want to see over 20%. Okay. And I was looking for something where it's below analyst target. I think there was something with analyst target in here as well. Target price, below price. We'll just do below price from analyst side. So anyway, there's all sorts of screeners. Look at, so just like that, looking for insider ownership and institutional ownership and a target price that's below analyst expectations. I mean, you're not going to find a ton of stocks that are under $10, but these are all stocks I would consider looking at. What I don't want to do is I don't want to get overly concentrated in one particular sector. So for example, we said this on Friday, there were a lot of the stocks we looked at from the filter last week, and you can watch Friday's session. It was our weekly recap, and you can see exactly what FinViz filters I used. But there were a couple of them that were in the technology sector, they're biotechs. The one that I ended up taking a trade on last week was COTY, and that was actually in healthcare. Okay, actually no, that was in was it like consumer, like defensive or something like that? It was like lifestyle. I mean, COTY is like makeup and cosmetics. But I like the levels. I took a trade around $7, and I'll actually go to that chart right here. So that's COTY. Okay, Cody Inc. It's up to $7.98. So I bought this around $7 and change. Let me see where I'm at right now. Let's go to that broker account, Charles Schwabi. Okay, just got to get logged in. So it's up a few bucks. Nothing crazy. I didn't take a big position on it because I put in level 1 here. I was looking for a flag pattern. And we took that trade live on Friday. So here is, just going to log into my account. Come on. Let's go, Schwabi. Send me my... All right, guess it doesn't want to let me log in. What's up with that? Unless my phone is just delaying. Anyway, we bought it around $7 and like 10 cents, $7.20, something like that. Okay, so it is what it is. Like I was looking for this as a rally to the upside and either a bull flag, and this is why I took the trade. So we had this little breakout here. So if it's rally here, little consolidation, looking for this break to the upside. If we get above, current price, if we get to $8 or $9, this thing has some open space to keep going. And that's why I want to take trade one here. So as trade one, I put in another order down here at the lows. And if it goes higher, awesome. Okay, and if it goes higher, then I'm going to ride that profit and I will cancel trade two because I'm not that worried about it. But if this turns into a trade that runs back up into, let's say, from $7 into $13 or $14, I mean, I'm essentially going to flip a stock for close to 100%. So there it was. Oh, there it is right there. Buy at $7.60. Okay, so that's small entry one, pending buy number two at 285. So it's up a few bucks. Nothing crazy. Okay. All right. So for the sake of the recording, we've been in it for 40 minutes today. Look, if you're interested in tuning in more this week, you can trade with me live during the week. You can go into my Flex trading room. There are opportunities for every trader to join me live. Flex trading room. It is smarttrader.com. You can click on the Flex trading room right in here. And if you're interested in joining me, awesome. What I'm going to try to do for anybody that's interested is try to offer some type of demo or trial with me. If I can get something like a week trial where you can come in and join, no risk, no hassle, no anything like that. It's just looking for a way to trade with me. So if you enjoy these Friday sessions, enjoy these Monday sessions, you want to trade with me, then that's a good way to do it. Okay, any other questions for me today? I know, like I said, for the sake of time, I want to keep these videos like 30 to 45 minutes. We have a bearish sentiment move on the day. I'm going to look and see how the morning stacks up here in the next maybe 15, 20 minutes. Do we have something available on the SPY, on the DIA, on the Qs? I'm watching volatility this week. Let's take a look at our currency strength chart for Forex. As I'm refreshing right now, the Aussie is still trying to climb its way up towards these highs. The JPY is also making a run to the upside. So just on the note today, like the dollar is still a little bit softer. The Swiss and the euro, even though they're separated, are still trying to reconnect. So we had a big separation here in the Swiss for whatever reason. Okay, the Aussie remains stable, starting to creep back up to the upside. But the Japanese yen is starting to gain on the morning. So what does that look like for some of my trades? Let's take a look. Some of my trades, so my Euro Swiss long, I'm hoping this can close above 109. And we'll start looking at that 110, 110.45 level. Dollar Swiss, I'm looking to hold. So I know overnight the dollar Swiss was above 9,000. I'm looking to hold dollar Swiss towards 92.50 to 93.50. Big long-term target for me on dollar Swiss is 93.50. Swiss yen. I love the sell trade on Swiss yen going after 116 or lower. Hopefully it's like 114 and change. Okay, dollar Swiss, same thing. We have Aussie. Let me check the Aussie CAD really quickly. So Aussie CAD, I'm also short. Okay, I have a couple of small positions in an Aussie CAD. This one was a little bit of a turd. I thought we had a really good looking level to sell it at these highs. What I am loving about the Aussie CAD is this. The last 48 hours have created nothing but two fantastic pockets. And what I mean by that is we have these blow off candles that have not had any type of efficiency. So all I'm going to do is currently at 99.84. I'm looking at a sell trade right around parity. We'll get into the smaller time frames and details this week in the flex room, but I am still looking for this Aussie CAD to form some type of pattern here. We still have some harmonics to trade back to, and we have lots of targets, lots of pivots, lots of great stuff to trade back to. Okay, so Aussie CAD, I am still going to hold short. New Zealand CAD, I'm still going to hold short. This is one of my favorite patterns as well. We did come up, and I believe we're trying to test these highs. This should be, it looks like it's going to set up a 3-drive pattern. Okay, a 3-drive pattern is this. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, scores a point for these highs, and then drops. And that could be just that third leg of divergence. So it's just, if it's overbought, if it's divergent from the highs, that means that price and momentum disagree, and then we start to see this thing drop back down. Amazing pocket in here, harmonic levels showing that it should be bearish overall on multiple time frames. So New Zealand CAD could be a great trade we watch materialize this week. Aussie CAD, the same thing. I'm interested to see how the week plays out. Remember that this week is going to be the end of the month. So this could be trading towards the end of the month where things just keep pushing, or we could start to see tops and bottoms forming by the end of the month, and then a new direction and new trends start to happen early next week as March kicks off on Monday. Okay, so lots to digest for this week. That's what Monday sessions are going to be. It's a weekly outlook. It's busy, right? We have a lot of things to look at, a lot of things to evaluate, but as the week unfolds, we take the best trades. Okay, So I will go ahead and wrap it up there, traders. Thanks for being with me today. If you have any questions, let me know. If you're trying to follow me out there and comment, again, like the video. I appreciate the thumbs up on these YouTube videos. I know that other traders watch them throughout the day, but youtube.com/Chris Pulver. Look for my Keep It Seriously Simple best trading strategy videos. I'll have lesson 13 dropping this week. Also a new series on trading indicators. You can follow me out there on all these different social media platforms. Main way to get a hold of me, like I said, leave a comment on the YouTube channel. Leave a comment on the video that you watch. If you want to follow me on Facebook, that's fine. Chris Pulver Trading. Instagram, you can follow me and send me direct messages at pulver.chris. Okay. All right, traders. I'll see you this week in the Flex Room. For all of you that are coming back on Friday, I'll see you on Friday for a weekly recap. If you have any questions, let me know. Let's have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.